Hey, what up, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of Kirk's Corner. This is yours truly himself, the captain. We got a good show planned for you today, and on the other end, we got our producer of the show, Leon. How's it going today, Leon?
Oh, it's been going great, Kirk. Happy to be here. I'm just ready to wait for this season to start. How you doing?
Oh, I'm pumped, man. I can't wait for this 2013 season to kick off. How do you feel about your draft? You think you had a good draft?
Oh, I know I had a good draft. But guys, you better be waiting. You better wait to play for myself, not me.
Oh, I hear you.
How you feel about
I hear you. What do you think was your best pick of the draft? Just to go through a little quick stuff here. What do you think? Who you think was your best pick of the draft, and what round?
I think I got a steal with Korner Santana in the 6th round. You know, what about you? Who's your diamond in the rough?
Well, yeah, I do agree that Carlos Santana in the 6th round, that guy got a very high upside. That's a pretty good pick. I think I got Carl Crawford. If he could stay healthy for 5 minutes, he should be pretty good this year. I got him somewhere around the 22nd round or something like that. And speaking of draft, as you know, Leon, we got John. He's going to do his yearly rankings. You know, he's going to break every team down into tiers and what he think about the teams and how he thinks things are going to go this year. And people, please keep in mind, this is John's ranking and only his opinion.
Yes, please.
Right. So anyway, we're going to take a little short break, and then we'll be back. John will be doing his rankings. We all look forward to hearing it every year. Good luck to everybody in this 2013 season. We'll be back in a second with John.
What's up, fellas? This is John, QB, Queens Bombers of the Baseball Stars. Just doing something a little bit different this year. Instead of putting our power rankings or our draft rankings to start the season on the site and typing it up, just going to talk it out for you guys. Whatever you get a chance to, you can respond to it on the boards. I'll put up a little message board about it, too. Just to get into it, like I say every year, remember, this is power ranking based off of the draft. So based off of what you see where people actually drafted some players, where they got some players, if they reach for some players, and where we think these players could end up based off of the draft. How I usually do this every year, I set this off in tiers. Tier 1 being the top tier that I put certain teams in, Tier 2 being the middle part, and obviously Tier 3 being the bottom feeders. Okay? How I like to rank teams, and I say this every year when I type this up, the way I see it is, in my opinion, for you to be a Tier 1 team, you have to have a balance of bats and arms. Now, in my opinion, the balance needs to be somewhere around 4 or 5 decent bats or good bats. Decent meaning they occupy basically two major stat lines, whether it's RBIs and home runs, runs and batting average, so on and so forth, okay? And also, in my opinion, you need to have at least 6 to 7 undroppable, hands down, people cannot deny not top tier, but at least second or third rate top tier pitchers. Undroppable pitchers, the way I say, at least 7 of them, okay? So, with that being said, in my opinion, I think the Tier 1 teams, I think there are 3 of them. I think those are Powerhouse, Queens Bombers, and also Blackout Squad. In my opinion, those 3 teams have the best combination of bats and arms when you look at them. I think they all, if they don't have at least four good bats, they have a combination of 5 or 6 that you can look at and say, well, all of these can possibly either work out, where it could be like 4 or 5 major bats. And also, in my opinion, they all have at least 7 undroppable pitchers around that amount, okay? In Tier 2, I think at the top of Tier 2, I don't want to get into anything specific, but at the top of Tier 2, I would say we have the Sluggers. Really like his team. I really like the pitching, I should say. I think the bats are going to need some work, but if you're going to go so dominant with the pitching side, I think if there's one side you can sacrifice on, I think in some scenarios, as Blackout Squad showed us a couple years ago, you can sacrifice somewhat on the bat side and have a dominant pitching staff, and I think that's what the Sluggers did, so I really like his team at the top of Tier 2. We have a lot of other middle-of-the-road guys. I think the Spartans are also probably top tier 2. When I look at his team, I like some of I just don't think he has enough balance, but he does have some balance. I think he could definitely make the playoffs. When I look at it, I see also probably at the top of tier 2, I already said the Sluggers. We have the Spartans. I also look at Haitian Domination right there. I think although his pitching is much to be desired, I think his bats are going to kind of make up for that, and I think he has probably about 4 or 5 solid pitchers. So he's going to need to get at least 2 or 3 more pitchers to make it up to that next level. And then you have 2 guys who I think are at the bottom of tier 2. Only out of respect do I put these guys there, because I think every year they find a way to make their teams work. I think they sacrifice too much on the pitching side this year, and they took a lot of bats early. I think that's Florida Black Knights, that's Kirk, and also Chris, the Igniters. I think the Igniters has the ability to possibly have the best bats in the league, but when A.J. Burnett's your second pitcher, I don't know how that's going to work out for you. So I think there's much to be desired there, but usually he finds a way to make that work out for him. Also, in Tier 2, you have the Chargers, who, when I look at the team, like I said, there's a lot of balance in this league. It's one of those things where even some of these guys that you mentioned who are Tier 2 guys, it's like if they end up making the playoffs, it wouldn't be a shock to me. So you have the Chargers, and probably middle of the road to the bottom of Tier 2 also, which, like I said, Black Knights and Igniters, in my opinion, are actually bottom of Tier 2. Then you also have the Krugers. Again, another middle-of-the-road team. It's kind of hard to fill them out. And I believe, last but not least, the only person, well, there are 2 teams who I believe are Tier 3 worthy. I think at the top of Tier 3, bottom Tier 2 would be Big Red. That's Will. When I look at the team, I just don't see that much. I just don't see that much going on at all. So, I mean, maybe you guys see something different from what I can, but I just don't see it there. And also the Amazings. Now, hands down, the Amazings is worse than Will, but, we only have 3 tiers. I think, hands down, he probably has the worst team because he only possibly has 3 decent bats and probably 1 very good pitcher and much to be desired going forward. So that's my draft rankings. That's the 2013 preseason power rankings.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. That was John and John's opinion and what he thinks about your team and the tier that he believes that you're in. Thanks a lot, John, for your hard work and the hard work that you put into coming up with these tiers and what you think about all these teams. By the way, thinking of teams, Leon, what do you think about John's team?
I think John's team is a very competitive team, but John has a little lacking in his bats, but still competitive.
I do agree that there's a little bit to be desired in his bats. He got a couple positions there that he's very weak in. But overall, because of that real strong pitching, I think he'll be fine this year. And not to mention, he is one of the best managers in the league. So I think he'll be fine this year. Another thing I want to speak about, though, is the DL. If you notice, Leon, there's some guys going on the DL who they don't have it next to their name yet, so you're not able to put them in your DL spot. You've been one of the lucky ones, one of the fortunate ones to be able to do it. I noticed Scott Diamond went on the DL for you. You were able to throw him in there and pick somebody up. Brian McCann has been on the DL for a month now, and they're still not putting DL next to his name. I don't understand with ESPN and why they do this stuff every year.
But hey, ESPN, if you love your player, you keep him. If you don't like him, drop him, because ESPN is not going to do nothing for you.
That's for sure. They're always late. I usually go to Fox Sports or a couple of the apps that I have on my iPad, because if you depend on ESPN, folks, you're not going to get the information on time that you need to get. But anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. It's been another good show. Next week, we got no other than Lennox, the Amazing himself, coming on the show. We're going to talk about a lot of things, what he thinks about his draft. What does he think about John's opinion about his draft? And we're going to have a lot of you on as the year go on. But thanks for joining us. It's been a wonderful show. Hey, Leon, thanks for coming on, man.
Anytime, Kirk. We'll be here next week. Same time, same place.
I hear you. Talk to you guys later. And keep in mind, folks, if you are going to be in a corner, let it be Kirk's Corner. I'll see you next week.